Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because we're about to dive into something really special. We're taking a close, structured look at one of the absolute most foundational frameworks ever created for personal and professional success. You guessed it, we're talking about Stephen Covey's landmark 1989 release, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So let's just get right into it because what we're looking at today, it isn't just some random list of quick tips. No, it's a complete architecture. We're going to see exactly how these 7 distinct habits build directly on top of each other to construct a lasting, rock-solid framework for true effectiveness.
I mean, think about it. Want to transform your personal and professional life? Obviously, right? Most of us would immediately say yes to that, but here's the catch. The source material we're unpacking today really challenges how we actually go about doing that. We are not talking about fleeting wins here. We're setting the stage for a really deep dive into true, lasting success. And to achieve that kind of success, well, we need a roadmap.
So here is our roadmap for today. First up, the inside-out transformation. Second, mastering your independence. Third, achieving true interdependence. And finally, number 4, continuous personal renewal.
All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the inside-out transformation.
Now, take a look at the stark contrast we have here. On one side, we've got quick tricks, which are basically just external, superficial Band-Aid fixes. And on the other side, we have character change, which is all about a genuine inside-out transformation. Covey's 1989 framework reveals this incredibly powerful truth that totally debunks the modern myth of the life hack. Because if you really want to be highly effective, you simply cannot rely on surface-level tricks. The source material makes it crystal clear. You actually have to change who you are from the inside out. It's about your character, not just your behavior. And once we really accept that true transformation happens from within, we are finally ready to lay our very first bricks.
Which brings us right to section 2, mastering your independence.
Okay, so we begin this phase with habit 1, be proactive. Then we move to habit 2, begin with the end in mind. And finally, habit 3, put first things first. Now, I really want you to view these not just as some scattered list of good ideas, but as a mandatory sequential progression. You literally cannot jump to step 3 without mastering step 1 first. It's like building a house. These 3 steps together are specifically designed to help you take back absolute, total control of your life.
Let's look at habit 1, be proactive. Basically, this means taking full responsibility for your life and focusing exclusively on what you can actually control. Think about it. It's the difference between complaining about a rainy day, which obviously you can't control, and choosing to just grab an umbrella. Look, external circumstances are always going to be there, but true independence, that starts the exact moment you decide to focus your energy strictly on the things within your control. That is absolutely the first, most vital brick in your personal foundation.
So once you've stepped up and taken responsibility, you naturally move to habit 2, begin with the end in mind. This is where you need to clearly define your core values and your ultimate goals to create a real personal vision. Think about an architect for a second. An architect doesn't just start pouring concrete randomly without a blueprint, right? You must architect your destination. By explicitly defining your ultimate goals and values up front, you guarantee that every single step you take is actually leading you to where you want to end up, instead of just kind of wandering aimlessly.
And that brings us seamlessly to habit 3, put first things first. Simply put, we have to prioritize what is truly important over what is merely urgent. Things like long-term strategy, personal growth, and key relationships, that is exactly where your time should be focused. Because if you're constantly reacting to the chaos of those merely urgent everyday fires, well, you're forced to sacrifice the long-term growth and the relationships that actually build a genuinely successful life. Mastering these first 3 habits completely transitions you into a state of true independence.
Moving right along to section 3, achieving true interdependence.
Just like our first sequence, building great teamwork is an evolution too. First, we think win-win. Then we seek first to understand. And finally, we synergize. Now, here's the key. You actually have to be completely independent to successfully navigate this phase. Only truly independent people can make the choice to be interdependent. So let's break these down. To really grasp habit 4, we first have to look at what we are trying to avoid, a zero-sum game. This is basically a situation where one person's gain equals another person's exact loss. It's kind of like fighting over the last few slices of a really small pie. But habit 4 is think win-win, which completely shifts that paradigm. It tells us we aren't trying to make someone else lose just so we can win. Instead, our task is to actually bake a bigger pie together. It's a fundamental shift from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance.
Once you've adopted that collaborative, abundant mindset, you can apply habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. The core instruction here is to listen deeply to others with real empathy. You absolutely must understand first. Honestly, effective communication doesn't start with you making your brilliant, well-crafted point. It starts with genuine understanding. It is a profoundly powerful thing to listen deeply to someone else before ever trying to make sure they understand you. Doing that builds immediate, rock-solid trust.
And naturally, that deep trust leads us perfectly into habit 6, synergize. This right here is the absolute peak of our collaborative architecture. Synergizing means taking the unique strengths of different people and combining them to create vastly better solutions. It is the ultimate realization of interdependence. Because you've actively sought out win-win agreements, and because you've communicated with genuine empathy, you can now merge all those diverse strengths to create results that are literally infinitely better than anything you could have ever achieved on your own. It's that magic moment where the whole truly becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
Let's wrap things up with Section 4, Continuous Personal Renewal.
Habit 7 is famously called sharpen the saw. I want you to imagine a person frantically sawing down a tree, just sweating and exhausted, making zero progress because the blade is completely dull. Taking a break to sharpen that saw might feel like a delay, but honestly, it's the only way to actually get the job done. And that is exactly what this habit is all about. Preventing burnout by continually investing in yourself. Think of it as the essential capstone of the entire framework. If you don't take the time to step back and sharpen the saw, all those previous habits we talked about become literally impossible to maintain. This habit is the key that secures sustainable, long-term effectiveness.
The source text actually breaks this renewal down into 4 very specific pillars: physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, and spiritual well-being. To effectively prevent burnout, you just can't afford to ignore any of these areas. You have to consistently and intentionally renew all 4 parts of your life. Make sense, right? Because if you're physically exhausted, your mental sharpness fades. If you're emotionally drained, your spiritual well-being really suffers. Every single one of these pillars is completely interconnected.
Now, when you finally step back and look at the whole picture, the message here is just incredibly inspiring. You get to watch your impact compound over time. By shifting away from those superficial quick hacks and instead mastering these 7 foundational habits from the inside out, you don't just see a one-time temporary improvement. The effects actually multiply. Your newfound independence feeds directly into your teamwork. Your teamwork creates so much better solutions, and your continuous self-renewal keeps the entire system thriving and compounding exponentially. It's incredible.
So, I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Which habit are you going to practice today? Seriously, think about it. Will you focus on being proactive and really controlling your reactions? Will you choose to listen deeply to someone to truly understand their perspective? Or, hey, maybe today is the day you simply need to take a breather and sharpen the saw. True effectiveness is an inside-out transformation, and it always starts with just a single step. Thank you so much for exploring this amazing architecture with me today on The Explainer. I really can't wait to see what you build.